Everybody, and welcome back. I'm Sheila Winger. This is Shift is Happening. I am really excited to be with you today. And today's topic is the next level starts now. The gloves are coming off. I'm coming out of the closet, and I'm going to get really serious about how to make your life better. So if you've ever felt like this world is just not working for you, that no matter what you do, you cannot get positive momentum, you cannot make your own dreams come true to the level that you want to, there's a very good reason for that. And in this episode, I'm going to illuminate what's going on that's making so many people feel that way and what is the way out of it. Trust me when I tell you there is a way out of it. And in this episode, I'm going to outline that specifically. And if what I say is resonating with you, like, subscribe, and share this, because from this episode on, I'm going to be showing you the way out of this, and we're going to start accelerating faster and higher into a life that little by little and more very quickly you fall in love with. I'm Sheila Winger. This is Shift is Happening. All right, everybody, it is time to get real. The time is now, and it's so important that people start becoming aware of why they're feeling the way they are feeling. And what I want to talk about is why is it feeling like we can't get any positive, real momentum in our lives? And have you noticed this? Have you felt like no matter where you put your energy, no matter how much you focus on setting your goals and trying to make them happen, everywhere you turn, it doesn't work? Well, you're absolutely right. It doesn't, because something very profound is happening in this day and age that is undeniable. How do I know this? I'll get into that later, but I know because I tangibly have experienced what I'm going to talk to you about, and I know it like I know I have 10 fingers on my hands. It has been a 30-year journey, which I'm not going to get into right now, but I want you to know that what I'm telling you, I know internally, profoundly, and tangibly. I'm not just making this up. All right, you may have noticed it seems like there are two kinds of people right now in this world. And there are those who keep being frustrated and talking about how politics aren't working and the education system isn't serving our kids. And they feel incredibly frustrated about no matter what they do, things don't seem to work. And then there are others who seem to believe there's more going on than meets the eye here. And those are people who are starting to think that life itself is doing something with us. It's interacting with us. Something about our consciousness is interacting with larger consciousness, and it's doing something with, for, and about humanity. You will notice that there seems to be a true division. There is one type and the other type. And if you are one type, you find yourself not being able to communicate with the other type of person. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, because what is happening here is there is a matrix situation going on. And there are people who are believing in the matrix that they can work within the matrix to make it better, but it will not work. The systems, as they are based on a low level of consciousness that humanity is beginning to grow out of, but not everybody is yet. So let me take just a moment to pause there and explain what my point for being here is within that framework. In my next episode, I'm going to come out of my closet completely and explain to you how I got to the mission that I'm on. But for right now, I'm just going to tell you there's one thing that I'm here to do for the rest of my life. And that is to help more people in the matrix see the matrix and climb out of it. I'm also here for people on this side who already are aware of that, who want to go faster, who want this to accelerate in their own lives and then spread as fast and as far as possible to all of humanity that it can reach. I am a catalyst for that, and I'm not going to apologize for it anymore. I'm not going to couch it or pretend that that's not what I'm doing. I'm going to be unequivocally, blatantly honest about that. Now, doing that can come in a lot of forms. You've seen my episodes where I talk about relationships. That's because the model I know is there works for relationships. It also works for your career. It also works for everything. Because when we get on this path of knowing that life is interacting with us and getting better and better at knowing how to interact with it, then it touches every single part of our lives simultaneously. It's the answer to everything. So now let me explain. There are truly two paths that we can choose. We can believe that we can just go out in the world and try to change the educational system, try to change the political climate, try to change our communities and make them better. This is very slow, and it does not work very well, and it does not ever get any real momentum. Why? Because there are forces who want to keep us in the matrix. And I'm going to do a shout out right now to R.J. Spina. He wrote the book, Access Super Consciousness. I want all of you to get that book. It's on Audible or order it. Everything that R.J. Spina says in that book is absolutely true. And he says it in a way that makes it tangibly practical for you to make it easier, faster. But one insight that he has cited on his podcast is that we are being harvested for our attention. If people can get our attention, they can control us. Our attention is the thing that they want to harvest, because our attention is what creates the world. Our attention and our intention is our consciousness, which interacts with reality. So if our attention can be gathered and manipulated by fear and panic and materialism and convincing us that we need to do these things, spend this money, and seek out others' approval, we're completely controlled in the matrix. We'll give all of our money away. We'll live the way that people want us to live. We'll spend the way they want us to spend, and we will not have any power in our lives. That's a big statement that he made, but it's absolutely true. Because if you've been watching the news for your entire life, then you've noticed it's always fear-mongering. You know, it's interesting, the contrast, because you live your life and you find wonderful, kind, good people who want nothing more than to love their children, help their children and their neighbors and humanity thrive and grow and have their needs met, be able to be creative, not have to worry about money. And then you watch the news and it seems like an entirely different world, that bad things are happening all of the time. And if you believe that what you're seeing out there is real, you will be in fear, and fear makes us not empowered. Now, on the other end, if you start to realize that your attention and your intention is what is interacting with the world, then your intention and attention is a sacred, beautiful thing that helps beautiful things happen. So then where you put your attention, where you place your intention, where you place your consciousness is the most important thing for you to pay attention to. Now, I'm going to point out that on my podcast, episode 10 talks about this in a way in the Shift is Happening podcast that you should listen to again if you haven't. All right. If this is speaking to you and you know that there are other people in your life that need to hear this, send it out now. Subscribe right now. Text your people right now and have them listen to this episode, because not only am I going to paint the picture, I'm going to show the path out of this. In the matrix side, people are believing that what they see out there is real and that they are a pinball bumping around that reality. I call that pinball reality because they have no power when they believe this way. The belief that this world is solid, and then I showed up here and I'm supposed to interact in all the ways that are built that don't seem to work very well anymore, that is powerless. It's a pinball life. That's why people are depressed. They've been trying so hard, they're exhausted, and it simply does not work. Now, this may paint a picture of an evil reality, but it is not. It is a beautiful reality. God exists, and I'm going to start using the G word. It's shorthand for whatever you want to replace it with. There are lots of reasons because of religion that the word God doesn't work for people. And I salute those people who don't want to use that word because of how it's been hijacked in organized religion. Replace it for the universe. I find it to be shorthand. God set up the most extraordinary, beautiful game. And if you heard Franco Romero on my podcast earlier or anywhere else that he's been telling his story, he showed me that concept first, that this is a game that we are playing with God. God is a childlike, beautiful energy that set up an incredible video game that is set up so that on our own timeline, however fast we want to go, it's going to show us that we are God. It is going to show us there has never been anything wrong with us, that we are perfect, and that we are so incredibly loved that it's going to amaze us and knock our socks off in more and more ways. But we have the choice as to how quickly we wake up to that. But back to the Matrix. The Matrix is part of it. And the reason nothing works, and the reason you're finding that more and more, I know you are, your money is diminishing in value. It doesn't matter. You're just going to have to, you're pushing that boulder up the hill monetarily. Money is not going to work. It's not working for most people anymore. That's not working. Educational system, not working. I was in it for 17 years. It's failing. These things aren't working because in this beautiful, loving reality, God wants you to see that this is a matrix. It wants you to wake up. It wants you to try everything you need to try before you realize that's not the way it will work. There's only one way out. That's over here. That's the people that are starting to realize this. I don't believe this. Something else is going on, and science is figuring it out. Science is figuring it out, and those who are into scientism, which has become its own network of people trying to keep it in a box, that's not science. Real science is trying to figure out what we really know, and it is finding out that consciousness and energy create reality. They are finding that out. We know from quantum physics, which I'm not a scientific person. My brain doesn't retain all the details that way, but there's so much evidence that is becoming more and more clear that there is more going on here. This is a world of consciousness. Consciousness precedes physicality. So many scientists now are not believing in the materialist view anymore, and science is getting figured out what's really going on. And quantum mechanics proved it when the observer came in and changed the way that particles acted. And now people are studying that on more and more levels and finding out that consciousness is interacting with reality and influencing it. Now, that means that you are not a pinball. I want you to remember that you are not a pinball. You are a conscious entity made of the consciousness of God, plunked here so that you could remember that. So that you could remember what you are. You don't have to add anything to what you are. You have to subtract. We are here to subtract our conditioning, subtract the effects of our trauma, remember what we are. And when we start doing that, we raise to a higher level of peace, calm, joy, freedom, fearlessness. Our heart opens. We expand our capacity to do more, be more, give more, share more, our gifts to give to as far as they will reach. All right, what I'm going to get into next is how does this game work and how do you start to win it? Okay, this is really important. The number one thing, we talked about pinball reality. You're no longer going to be in that reality. So now you're going to start living this way. What you are on the inside is where all of your attention needs to go, because the outside is going to reflect that back to you. Okay? So think about it. And this is always happening. What we are being in our beingness is what we're getting in our reality. So back to pinball world, if we believe the world is a mess, the world is a mess. If we believe that no matter what we do, we can't get ahead, we don't get ahead. It's perpetuating those beliefs and keeping us small. So where your attention goes, what do you choose to watch? What conversations do you choose? What words do you say? Words are spelled, and they are spells in the you inverse that's going to reflect them back to you. So think about all the people who go around complaining, understandably, because in that way of being, life is no fun. It gets worse and worse and worse because life loves you. God loves you so much. It's trying to show you this ain't the way. So people complain and fearmonger, and they are in fear. The reason they're in fear is because they're believing what they're watching, and that's how it works, and that everyone should be out there trying to fix it out there, but it will never work. So what we need to do instead is know that it is inside out. We, just like Gandhi, we need to be the change that we want to see in the world and live that like a law starting right now. I'm going to give you a really great example. This works in relationships, and I've helped relationships heal with only working with one of the persons in the relationship. If you are in a relationship and that person is not reaching you, you're not getting what you want out of a relationship from that person, you can't do anything about that person. But what you can do is decide, what feeling is it that I really want in a relationship? I want, let's say, connection, and I just can't get it from them. What you need to do then is be connection. You're going to connect with yourself more. You're going to learn about what do you really need? What do you really care about? What do you really want? And you're going to treat yourself the way that you would want a partner to treat you. That is being what you want in the world. And if you start being that this day, then your reality will start to change. It'll be obvious to you, and it'll be fun because something's going to happen in that partnership. You're going to be different, and your partner's going to notice because they're in your world. They're going to do something different, and you're going to see that, oh my gosh, my reality changed when I changed myself. So someone feeling that way can connect more with their friends, connect more with their own self, do more loving things for themselves, with themselves, and with the people who connect with them. If they're wanting connection, they have to be connection, and you will see right away something changes. And I could get into that in detail, but just know that that's a microcosm of how this works. Now, let's say you really want a world built out of love. That's what I want. I want a world filled with love. So once I realized that, I decided, okay, I love every part of myself. Anything that comes up, a feeling, a sadness, a hurt, I'm going to nurture that and love it. And anything that comes up in my reality, I'm going to serve it for love. So if someone's in an argument or whatever, and they are seeking any assistance, I will just serve love, seek the truth, and serve love everywhere I go. So when we do it on the inside, it reflects on the outside. And you can watch this happen like magic. It takes a little time, and God and the universe will test you. Are you sure that's what you want? Trust me, you're going to get tested. It's going to bring you the most tempting experience. It's going to take you to do the thing you always did in the past, just to see, are you serious about this? And if you pass that test, your life is going to change. So, for example, I used to have a lack of self-worth. So many people do, walking around because of things that happened in childhood, and that was still in me. I hadn't healed it yet. So because of that, I felt that my worth was giving it all away. I'm sure many of you can relate. If so, come see me at Shift Hypnosis. I can take that away in 2 sessions. But when I was living that way, I would continue to try to be loving and give it away all the time. And then what would happen is I'd get exhausted and resentful. I'm like, why am I exhausted and resentful? All I want to do is give love. Because I'd forgotten about myself. God is so smart and beautiful that it knows that if I don't include myself, I'm missing something. So it's got to go wrong. And it did. It kept going wrong. I'd get exhausted. Like, I don't know why. I want to have infinite capacity for love. It didn't work until I healed my own lack of self-worth. And then I truly, genuinely loved myself. I knew that it was true that I was worth love. And that's what I can do in my practice in 2 sessions. That's why I am on a mission to heal this world as fast as I can with as many clients as I can, because I found a faster way. Now, why did I find a faster way? Because of my intent. Because this world is built on consciousness. And my intent has been to be for love. So it took me to a path to be able to heal people faster than I ever thought possible. When I say be for love, I mean that I'm not going to get in a conversation about hate. I don't care how much that person believes the person they're talking about is evil. I don't believe any person is evil. I believe evil exists in people. But I don't believe any person is wholly evil. They have been hurt, damaged, something. So there's evil in them, no question. But I'm not going to feed that with hate. That's only going to make it worse. So if people are talking negatively, derogatorily towards somebody, calling names, whatever they're doing, I will not participate. I am for love. And you can be whatever you decide to be for. But here's the truth, and here's a warning, and this will seem like a big deal, but it'll get easier when you get there. When you don't participate with people the way they participate in the matrix, they're not going to like it. So on this side over here, this path that you're going to go on with me, you're going to lose people. It's okay. It's not bad, and it's not hurtful to them. You're simply going to part ways automatically and naturally, because you won't be willing to talk that way. And they won't necessarily be able to like it that you're not. And that's okay, because everyone has their own choice to get on this path whenever they want to. And if someone's not ready, you're not going to make them be ready. Okay? Like, people are going to watch this channel and say that I'm crazy. No problem. I've already accepted that. I've already decided to be crazy because I found out that crazy was so much better, that I don't care who calls me crazy. And I don't care what, I don't care. That's because they're where they are, and I have nothing but love for them, and they can keep doing anything the way they want to do it. Okay. But just know, you've probably already experienced this. I'm probably telling you what you already know. You've been in conversations. You've been in social situations where you feel like, I just can't do this. You're right. Your inner guidance system knows you can't do this because you're not going to live in the matrix anymore. You're on your way out. And that following that inner guidance system is what takes you out. So I want you to get better and better and better at following that inner guidance system, because it knows. And the human being has a real tough tendency to feel like if we ever lose someone in our lives, that it's bad. No, it's not bad. We're all unique individual souls on our own journeys. It doesn't have to be hurtful, because just as you feel like you don't fit into that conversation, they also feel like they don't fit into your conversation. It's a natural division, and it's completely fine. But do know you're going to be less popular with the people you might have been hanging out with, and that is okay. The popular and being popular and being accepted and having all those people value you, that's a trap into the matrix. When you follow your own inner guidance system, you're going to be more loving, and you're going to be more powerful, and you're going to be more fearful, less fearful. You're going to be fearless. And what you do will be so beautiful from that energy that it's going to be far more powerful and beautiful and impacting than anything you ever did in the matrix. So I want to encourage you to, that's coming, and just lean into it. Just lean into it, and you can gently distance yourself little by little. Over time, it'll happen naturally. But what I want to tell you is there is a wonderful welcoming committee over here where people are living inside out and knowing that life is interacting with us, and knowing that when we live this way, we find each other and we can speak the same language and we can get excited together, and then we can be more powerful together. We can make a greater impact. And this club over here, this side over here, we want nothing more than people in the matrix to wake up, but we just know what we can do and what's not ours to do to help them. But you'll become a person who automatically, by being what you are, finding out that life loves you and is playing with you, it's going to give you power and energy and a pathway to give your specific gift that you love to give, that's going to help as many people that can wake up out of that matrix and usher in a whole new level of humanity that we all long for. In my next episode, I'm going to come out of the closet completely and tell a little bit more about how can I talk about this? How do I know it tangibly the way I've told you? I'm going to tell that story so that you will know how I got to see this, how I proved it to myself, so that you have a pathway to see how you can prove it to yourself. I'm going to tell you how to do it. And I want you to know it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be long and laborious, but it will take some time. It will prove itself to you over time, and then it will accelerate. So I want you to just be patient with yourself and know this. If you have listened to this video all the way through, you're already on the path. Either you did know that or you didn't know that. If you already knew you were on the path, then great. If you didn't and now you're still listening to me, you definitely are. Because what I said wouldn't have resonated with you. You would have just said I was crazy and turned it off. So I want you to know that. It may feel like the smallest part of you in there that's resonating with this. It doesn't matter. It's already done. And here's how I know this. Your intent, your inner guidance system, that thing that's saying, I want to listen to her, that is the strongest part of you. It's just been buried in conditioning. All we have to do is pay more attention to it, and the conditioning will fall off like layers of an onion peel. So don't even worry. I want you to know that if what I'm saying is resonating, you're already leaving the matrix, and you just keep following my podcast and watching my YouTube channel. And I'm going to give you other people to listen to. The first one is RJ Spida. He is speaking the absolute truth of what I'm talking about. I know because I've experienced it tangibly, and that's a word he uses all the time. And I'm going to give him a shout out and say something he says. If you know this intellectually, you have nothing. It's worth nothing. If you listened all the way through and all you have is intellectual knowledge about it, you have nothing. What makes you know something is when you are it. And in my next video, I'm going to show you how to not only get there, but how to accelerate. Thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, and share this with everyone, all the people in your entire circle. Who knows how many of them will have that small part of themselves that wants to listen to this. So spread it to everybody. And if you get called crazy, that's a good sign. Thank you for being here. I'm Sheila Wenger. This is Shift is Happening Now.